One of the most important yet overlooked techniques in the game of football is ball striking. So many players will go their entire careers without being taught how to properly strike a ball. And that's why today, guys, I'm going to be giving you a full step-by-step tutorial on how to strike the ball with power correctly. And make sure you stick around to the final tip because for me, this one's the most important. What's up, everyone? My name is Francesco, and as a former NCAA Division I and full-time footballer, my mission is to provide you with the resources you need to enjoy the game and take your game to the next level. Hope you enjoy the video. The first step is the setup touch. So you want to make sure the setup touch in this case is out of our feet about 3 or 4 strides. This allows us to approach the ball with speed, which then in turn leads to an increase in power in our strike. This also allows us to approach the ball 3 or 4 strides that are even. A lot of time you'll see players stutter step towards the ball, and this decreases the amount of momentum they have when they're approaching the ball to strike it. You want to make sure your run up, the strides are as even as possible, with that last stride being the biggest. This will lead to an increase in fluidity, which then leads to an increase in power in your strike. And finally, in addition to the setup touch, we want to make sure the ball's not straight out in front of us. We want to make sure the ball's at about a 30-degree angle. So slightly in front of us, slightly off to the side. Now that we've got the ball 3 or 4 strides ahead of us, we need to think about what we're going to do with the eyes and how they can help us with our strike. So typically with the eyes, we're going to first look up at the goal. This is going to give us time to choose our side, where we're going to strike, how we're going to strike the ball. One mistake a lot of players make is when they look up at the goal, they look straight at the goalkeeper. What you want to do is you want to look to one of the sides where the goalkeeper's not. It may seem obvious, but at the same time, a lot of players are going to get distracted by the goalkeeper that's in the goal. So you really want to focus on choosing a side, not necessarily a corner. As you progress with your striking, you can then lead to choosing a corner, whether that's the top right, the bottom left, etc. But at the start, I want you just to choose the right side of the goal or the left side of the goal prior to striking the ball, right? So we get our eyes up as the ball's out of our feet. We then choose our side where we're going to aim, and then from there we focus and concentrate on making the proper, good connection with the football, striking through it, keeping our eyes on the ball, watching our foot make connection with the ball, and striking through. Now that we know what to do with our eyes, we have to focus on what we're going to do with our foot. And this leads to our third step, which is locking your ankle. And albeit sometimes sounds like a very simple concept, it's something that a lot of players have challenges with. And locking your ankle doesn't only lead to an increase in the power in your shot, but it also leads to a decrease in the risk of injury you have every time you strike the ball. So in this case, when we're striking the ball, we want to think about pointing our toes down, but also away from us. This again is the optimal angle to strike the ball with power, so we're not striking the ground with our toe, but also leads to us allowing to have that follow through and connecting with the ball with a nice, strong, locked ankle. And now, in addition to all that, I found that once the theory of the locking the ankle is taught, it really comes down to practicing it consciously, thinking about it every time you go out to strike the ball and train. And now that we know we have to lock our ankle, it leads into our fourth step, which is the part of the foot that we connect with the ball. So a lot of the time, coaches will tell players to strike the ball with the laces, when in fact, to get the most power in your strike, you actually want to strike the ball just underneath the laces. If you feel your foot, you can feel that really hard, nice, bony part of them. And with this being the hardest part of your foot, this is going to lead to the most power in your strike. But as you strike, make sure you're connecting with that hard, bony part to get optimal power as well as optimal accuracy. So now our fifth step has to do with more of the upper body. So what we do with our arms as well as what we do with our chest and our shoulders. So typically when striking the ball with the laces with our upper body, we don't want to lean back too much. We want to make sure we're keeping our chest and our shoulders over top of the ball at every opportunity. This will decrease our risk in skying the ball. So in addition to our shoulders and our chest being over the ball, we also want to think about getting our opposite arm up to the foot that's striking. Okay, so you want a nice long lever with the opposite arm as we're about to strike the ball. And then from there, we want to whip our arm back across the body as we strike the ball. Having the opposite arm up not only increases our stability and our balance as we strike the ball, but it also allows us to use it and whip it across our body when we strike the ball, which then leads to an increase in our power. So it's utilizing the entire body as we strike, not just the leg, not just the foot, not just the lower body. It's also utilizing our upper body as we strike and using it to our advantage to increase our power, increase our accuracy, and overall increase our technique. So our sixth tip can be subject to discussion and argument. This is what you do with your hips. So typically with our younger players, when we're just beginning the process of how to strike the ball and giving them learning the technique, we typically tell them to finish with their hips in the direction that they want the ball to go. So especially when you're striking with the laces, you want to approach the ball and strike the ball with your hips in the direction you want to strike, as well as finish with your follow through with the hips in that particular direction. And this isn't for every single strike, okay? Especially if you want to curl the ball and the ball's off to the side and your hips have to face side on prior to striking the ball. But in our case, when we're just beginning the process of learning the technique, we want to approach the ball, strike the ball with our hips facing the direction we want to strike, as well as finish with the follow through with the hips in the direction we want to strike. This leads to our seventh and our most important tip, which is landing on the foot you strike with. So, landing on the foot we strike with. Why do we want to do this? There's 2 or 3 main reasons as to why you want to land on the foot you strike with. The primary reason is it allows you a more fluid follow through the ball, which then in this case will lead to an increase in not only accuracy, but also power, of course, because it allows you to strike all the way through the ball and you're using your momentum to strike through the ball rather than stopping your momentum by just staying on your planted foot. The second reason is it allows us to get into a good position as we strike the ball, which then leads to an increase in balance as well. So landing on the foot you strike with is a very important part of this technique. So make sure you focus on a fluid follow through with power, with accuracy, as well as staying stable and balanced. So guys, there's our step-by-step tutorial on how to strike the ball with power. All I'm gonna ask from you guys is if you enjoyed the video to smash that like button down below. It helps with the algorithm or something. I don't know, I'm a football guy, okay? But if you hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it. I'm also gonna put a playlist of all my other individual training sessions right here, so you guys can click that, look through some extra videos, okay, that I put together. Again, some individual training on ball control, shooting, passing, all that really good stuff, as well as strength and conditioning stuff, okay? Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one.